girlies, it's Tammy. So I'm back at you with another video today, and today we're going to be swatching and reviewing and doing a tutorial using the brand new Jaclyn Hill palette. I've waited months for this to come to the UK. Finally Beauty Bay released it. I managed to get my hands on it. So here we have the palette. I bought it for £37 from Beauty Bay. I also got free standard delivery, but it actually arrived the next day. It got shipped the same day. Very impressed, very impressed. And yeah, I used it yesterday for the first time ever, so if you would like to see that video, definitely check out my Instagram tutorial that I did on it. But yeah, today we're going to be actually reviewing the palette, showing you guys how I achieved this eye look right here, and also giving you swatches. So enough rambling from me, let's jump straight into the video. Let's do this. So here we have the palette. I've only used it once before. I did a look with it yesterday for Instagram, so make sure you check out my Instagram if you want to see a tutorial for that. But today we're going to do something a little bit different, not too different, because I am going out tonight. I'm going to the opera with Kami, like my first time going to the opera. I don't know what to expect, so I don't want to go too much. I'm not going to be using like the greens or the blues in this palette. I'm going to kind of stick to the warm tone section, get a nice kind of neutral with maybe like a gold or maroon on the lid, something along those lines. But one of you guys suggested to me that I do a like series using this palette, and like do maybe one tutorial every week or one every month, whatever you guys want to see. I'm totally fine. I mean, there's so much colors in this palette, I can do like a couple looks. So definitely let me know if you would like to see like a series using this palette. I can do multiple looks using it. So now the bummer about this is it didn't come with the name sheet, so I don't know any of the eyeshadow names. Beauty Bay, it says it only comes when you order from the Morphe website, so we didn't get names. So I'm just gonna like literally point to the shade. So yeah, this is what the palette looks like. Now compared to the fake, because I do have the fake one from eBay or AliExpress, one of them, you can feel the difference. It's a lot heavier. The pans are a lot kind of fuller, because in the fake one they're filled like halfway up, and you can still see a gap from the end of the pan to the top of the palette, if you understand what I mean. But this one, they're all like full in the pan, if that makes sense to you. So yeah, there is a big difference, and quality wise there's a big difference. The mattes in this palette are kind of chalky, but not as chalky as the fake ones, but the fake one still performed. That was the kind of thing about the fake one, but these ones, they perform as well. So what I found with the mattes so far, I might as well give you my quick thoughts on it before we jump into the tutorial. So what I found with the mattes so far, they are kind of chalky and a little bit powdery, but the pigmentation is there. So they do take a bit of building up in the crease area, or wherever you're putting the mattes. They do take a little bit of building up, but the pigmentation is there once you do build it up. But when you're doing swatches, they're not the best to swatch. Like, they kind of fall out everywhere. It's chalky, it's choppy. It's definitely not the best to swatch, but applied on the eyes, they perform amazing. The shimmers, however, they swatch gorgeously. They glide, they feel super smooth to touch. They're super buttery on the eyes as well. They're super pigmented, very reflective. The shimmers are definitely very high quality. The mattes in this palette, they're definitely better than the original Morphe 35 palettes, but they're not the best mattes I've ever tried. They're not silky or smooth to touch. They're quite chalky and gritty, I would say. Not gritty, that's not the right word. Kind of dry and chalky. That's how they feel to touch, the mattes. But then, as you can see, they definitely got the pigmentation. So yeah, let's just jump straight into this tutorial and see what I can create. Okay, so the first shade I'm going to take is this color right here. It's kind of like a warm tone camel brown color, and I'm going to put that into my transition area. Oh, and just to mention it, the palette does not have a mirror, as I'm pretty sure everyone knows, so you will need to use your own. So I'm going to start pressing this color into the crease. So this is like the perfect base tone brown for me. There is a little bit of kickback on the palette, but nothing too crazy. And like I said, the pigmentation is there, but it just needs building up. I feel like I want to do a halo eye today, just because like I said, I'm going to the opera and I feel like a halo eye would look nice tonight. Okay, so the next shade I'm going to go into is this kind of mauve warm tone color here and put this into the crease. Do you see the pigmentation? But there is fallout. I should have tapped off my brush. I did say they are chalky and kind of fallouty. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. They do have fallout and you can see it on the palette as well. So I definitely think the best way to use this palette is to take a small amount at a time and build up the color, because if you try to go in with too much pigment at once, it will just fall down and make a mess. But they blend like a dream. Okay, so next I'm going to take this dark deep burgundy color right here and I'm going to put it on my outer and inner corner. And do you guys see how dirty the palette is getting? I don't know if it's going to pick up with my lights, but the palette is getting so dirty just from me holding it like this. Oh my god. Now this shade in particular I find to be a little bit dry to work with and to swatch as well. But then again, burgundy red shades are kind of hard to formulate, I've heard. Not that I'm a chemist. Then I'm going back in with my previous brush. I'm going to take a dab of this warm tone orangey colour and I'm going to blend out the edges. Okay, so that deep matte burgundy color right here, even though I worked with it yesterday, I put it all over the lid yesterday, but now I've tried to blend it into the crease. And I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's not going so well. I used it yesterday and it was beautiful, so it might be my fault. So I'm just going to move on and just use the deep dark brown to kind of cover this up. So I'm just going to put the brown on the outer and inner corners. Okay, then for the center of the lid, it was so hard to kind of pick a shade, but I think I've decided on this shade on the far right corner. It's kind of like a light rosy color. I was gonna go for my standard kind of gold because gold would look so gorgeous with this look, but I thought I'd switch it up and go for like this. It's not a rose gold because this one here is a rose gold. This one kind of just looks like a rose champagne color. So yeah, I'm gonna use it with my finger and then with a brush on the other side. So first I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna take it dry and just drag it down the center of the eyelid. Yeah, these shimmers definitely pack a punch. Wow. So I'm gonna try wet the shade slightly using my Primark priming water. Yeah, it's definitely more pigmented wet, but it's definitely very hard to apply with nails, so I'm gonna use a brush. So I'm taking the Makeup Revolution Flex eyeshadow brush and I'm just gonna drag that down the center. Yeah, very pigmented and reflective when it is on a brush as well. Woo! And then last but not least, I'm going to mix this shade here along with a little bit of the gold and I'm going to put it on my inner corner. Okay girlies, so that is the eyeshadow look complete. I'm going to go off camera quickly, complete the rest of my face, and I'll come back with my final thoughts on the Jaclyn Hill palette. Okay girlies, and I'm back. So here we have the final look. I hope you like it. It is very, very, very similar to the look I did using the Neutrals versus Neutrals palette a couple tutorials ago. I'm sorry about the similarities, but like I said, let me know if you do want me to continue doing tutorials using this palette. I'm happy to do so, even though it's getting filthier by the second. So my final thoughts on the Jaclyn Hill palette. Let's start with the packaging first. It gets dirty very, very easy. It was dirty before I even finished doing swatches. I mean, if you have any form of makeup on your hand, it will stick to the palette. So if you've just done your foundation or you've just tapped out your concealer and you touch the palette, it will be there. The only good thing about the packaging is it is wipeable. I did make sure and wiped it off screen, and you can wipe it. It does go white. Just take a wet wipe and like clean it. However, the colors inside now, they are just absolutely stunning. If you are a warm tone lover, you will absolutely enjoy this palette. Most of the transition colors, if not all of the transition colors, are warm tones. So you have your light warm tones up here, medium kind of reddish warm tones here, and then down here you have the deep warm tones, apart from this one color which is like a deep dark purple color. And then of course over here you have a little colorful section for, you know, people like me who love to experiment with colors. You have two kind of greenish colors. The rest of the colorful shades are shimmery, so you would have to kind of do like a warm tone crease or maybe a smoky eye with the colorful colors on the center of the lid. That would be beautiful. There's just so many eyeshadow combinations you can definitely get out of this palette. The mattes are kind of dry and chalky feeling, however on the eyes they perform. They are super pigmented, they blend really well. The shimmers are 1000% better. These are so beautiful, so kind of buttery, silky smooth as you swatch them. Even when you apply them to the eye, they're very metallic. Overall guys, I've enjoyed using this palette. Like I said, I've used it twice. I've swatched the whole palette. It's definitely a good quality palette, and yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about the palette so far. So that is it for this video, girlies. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and leave me a comment, why not? And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye.